Disney's Disneyland.
When you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are.
Each week as you enter this timeless land, one of these many worlds will open to you. Tomorrowland, promise of things to come. Fantasyland, the happiest kingdom of them all. Frontierland, tall tales and true from the legendary past. Adventureland, the wonder world of nature's own realm. Presenting this week from Adventureland...
Walt? Walt Disney? Hello? Hello? Say. Say, we're down here at the stables in Disneyland. Now, by car, that's quite a distance across town. But by camera, it's only across Dazal. So join us, won't you? Hello. I know this is a funny place to find a horse, but he thinks he's a lap colt, and nothing will change his mind. We call him Atom. He's a miniature Shetland pony, and he'll never get much larger than he is right now. I guess you'd call Lilybell here living proof on the hoof. She's Adam's mother, the full-grown adult model. Now, Lilybell is what you'd call average size for her breed. Which makes her about knee-high to the tops in the horse world, the draft horse. Now, this is Blackie. We have quite a few of these big fellows around. As a matter of fact, at Disneyland, we keep all kinds of horses. All kinds, all sizes, all frisky. Kicking up their heels in our 10 acres of corral, there are more than 200 horses, mules, ponies, and burros. Of course, it's not all fun and games. Every animal has to work for his keep. In fact, if you look across Town Square, down Main Street, you'll see that Disneyland literally runs on horsepower. Daisy here is another of our draft horses. She weighs about 1,700 pounds, but she can pull 9,000 pounds with ease. And our horse cars weigh only about 1.5 tons. To pull our 7/8 scale fire wagon, we have Amos and Minnie, pure white crossbreeds, half Hackney, half Shetland pony. These are purebred Shetlands. And behind them, purebred Hackneys. In Frontierland, we use the Shetland Hackney crossbreed again to pull our Concord coach. More purebred Hackneys, and this is the Yellowstone carriage. Along with the mules that pull our covered wagon, there's a hinny in the harness, too. Now, a hinny is a mule crossed the other way, the offspring of a stallion and a jenny. It's the lead animal closest to our camera. Part of Frontierland is the Painted Desert, and it's an ideal setting for the Painted Red Man and his painted horse. An Indian pony at full gallop is a perfect picture of rhythm and grace. And certainly as living symbols of the old frontier, there's nothing that can match this tableau. The noble red man and his horse. Horses in general make such an interesting subject that someday we plan on doing the history of the horse on one of these programs. But on this show, we're going to take you on a true life adventure with one particular horse. This is Woody D. I've known him for years. He belongs to a close friend of mine, Russell Havenstrite. Now, in the story, Woody plays the part of Stormy. And the story of Stormy closely parallels the career of Woody D. Now, to guide us along the trails of this true life adventure, I want to call on Winston Hibler. Hey, Hib! Right here, Walt. Hib, if you'll take over with the adventures of Stormy, I'm sure I can find plenty to keep myself occupied.
Fine. And I'll bet she does a good job with that, too.
This is the racetrack. Pageantry, crowds, drama. The world of thoroughbred racing, as most people know it. Backstage, the great thoroughbreds, stars of the drama, prepare for their appearance. The jockeys are up. The ritual begins. A rising current of excitement begins to charge the atmosphere. Out front, the spectators are ready, waiting. And here they come, the thoroughbreds, representing the finest bloodlines of a horse kingdom. Best against best. Now, the months of training and discipline will blaze up and explode in a few moments of desperate action. The moments of truth. Who will be best of the best? Off-scene, textbook in hand, students of the drama air their views. The critics delve into facts and figures to study the possibility of an outstanding performance. Here, the spirit of hope eternal strews its bright petals of promise. Yes, hope. With hope in the heart and 2 bucks on the nose, they wait as the play prepares to unfold. As usual, everyone is excited except the stagehands. Placid, unperturbed, they move the last-minute scenery into position. Now the officials, with due ceremony, take their places on stage. The curtain is about to rise.
The horses are approaching the starting gate.
Come on with them, fellas. Let's go. Oh. Horse out of the gate, man. All right.
Bill, I want to move him back.
Back him up.
David, up.
Got a man down the stall, fella. Just wait a minute. He'll be all right there. He's all right there, Bob. Yeah, I see him. Okay.
Wait a minute, Bill.
All right.
Hold the phone here.
You all right now? All right. Now the drama is over. For some, a happy ending. For others, not so happy. And yet, this is really only part of the story. A great thoroughbred doesn't always end up here, in the winner's circle. The thoroughbred, a special breed of horse, is the blood royal of a horse kingdom. To achieve and to maintain that distinction, he must conform to a stern and inflexible code of life. For nowhere are the traditions greater, the standards higher, the regulations as strict as the world of the thoroughbred. There can be no compromise, no room for error. The future of the thoroughbred is planned for him long before he is born. And even when he is born, he can't even choose his own birthday. According to regulation, every thoroughbred colt is officially born on January 1st. This date was chosen because, under a system of rigid control, all thoroughbreds foal in the early part of the year. That is the rule. Our story, a true story, begins here on one of the famous breeding farms in central Kentucky. Here are born the royal scions of the horse world. In the beginning, a newcomer may taste a few precious weeks of freedom. Then, like human royalty, he must conform, learn to follow the rules. It is April now, and all the spring foals have been dropped and turned out to grass. Here they grow large and strong under the proud eyes of their mothers. But Lady Ellen, who could trace her bloodline back to the great Ben Brush himself, could only watch. Of all the mares, she alone was without foal. The warm months passed, bringing the last storm of summer, a big storm, heavy with thunder and protest. Inside the stables, something unusual was in progress. Of course, it wasn't possible, and yet, well, there was no mistaking the obvious. Lady Ellen the mare was in labor. Well, there he was, 7 months late, contrary to every regulation in the book. Still, there he was, all neatly gift-wrapped in the silken membrane of the newborn foal. Time, 4:42 a.m. Sex, male. Weight, 97 3/4 pounds. Mother, doing well. And at the moment, busy. A colt's first instinct, even before food itself, is to stand up. At last, with Mother to provide encouragement and some shrewd nudging, he's up, standing firmly on his own 4 legs. Well, sort of firmly. A colt is born with legs much larger than the rest of him because he needs them right away. This amazing ability to stand, walk, and sometimes even run within hours of birth is nature's gift to the newborn. My, what a handsome youngster he is. Bit damp behind the ears yet, but definitely someone a mother could be proud of. What grace, what manly bearing. He's his father all over again. It's just that he's going to be awfully hard to explain to people. Well, time enough for that later. Meantime, breakfast is being served toward the rear. No, son, you don't chew it. You're supposed to drink it. The storm passed, and the rays of the early morning sun struck the roof of the stable, warming and drying the colt inside. Everything all right, son? You like to try that getting on the feet business again? Fine. When the morning came on a little, Lady Ellen and her son went out to face the world together. It didn't take long for news to get around the farm. Gossip travels quickly, even among horses. What's this? A foal in August? It isn't possible. I don't believe it. Gosh, wait till I tell the boys in the back pasture about this. Some of the ladies were indignant, but fascinated. Yep, he's real, all right. Scarcely able to credit his own eyes, a puzzled spring foal came to look the newcomer over. He didn't quite understand. Even his own mother couldn't explain it to him. Poor youngster. By all rights and rules, that other large colt walking there with its mother is the size he should have been. But fortunately, the colt didn't know what a problem he was. He was happy just to be alive in this new, sunny world and to be close to his mother. As the old saying goes, you can lead a horse to water, but there's no place like home. Yes, it was quite a day on that particular horse farm. As word of Lady Ellen and her colt got about, a number of horses found it convenient to drop around the community water trough, have a drink, and discuss the matter. Careful, he's looking this way. Well, that did it. Now you've caught his eye. Next minute, he'll actually be coming over here to talk to us. Yes, here he comes. What did I tell you? Not too friendly now. Mustn't encourage him too much. Lady Ellen went about her business hoping the other colts would accept him, make friends, and maybe it's just as well. Those yearlings are a bunch of roughnecks. Don't worry, son. We can have just as much fun by ourselves. Sure, Ma, that's swell, but gee, look at them go. Someday I'll be as big and strong as they are. Yes, sir. Now what are they doing? Just showing off a little. Horses love to run in slow motion because it makes them look good. Well, gotta get my nap. Got a lot of growing up to do. Days passed and the colt found a friend. The regular trainers were too busy with the other yearlings. Besides, he was too little to bother with. His friend gave him his first lesson, how to lead. You don't start from the beginning to lead a horse. You start from the end, with a strap around the rump so as not to injure the delicate muscles of his neck. Best of all, his friend gave him a name, Stormy, in memory of that momentous night he arrived, 7 months behind schedule. 6 months later, and Stormy was growing. But no matter how fast he grew, he could never quite catch up to the others. They were always 7 months ahead, although, of course, his birthday was officially the same as theirs. Okay, so I'm small for my age. I bet I can run faster than any of you broomtails. Leastwise, I think I can. Never had a chance to race anyone with my mother. Not that she couldn't run. Remember, she was a champion. Hungry for a little appreciation, The colt came over to receive a few polite compliments from his royal cousins. He ran very well, they thought. Not in their class, of course, but he ran very nicely. Stormy gratefully accepted the few words of praise wrung out of the others. He wanted to share even this small triumph with his mother. Where was she? Someone was leading her away. Funny at this time of day. That never happened before. This is a sad moment in the life of any colt. But for the unsuspecting Stormy, it was near tragedy. This was the day of weaning. The day his mother would be taken away from him to another part of the farm. Goodbye, Stormy. Panic seized the little colt, as somehow he sensed he would never see his mother again. A few weeks later, they began track school for the yearling class, and his friend Sylvester brought him over to watch. Here is where horses learn not how to run, as might be supposed, but when to run. Thoroughbreds are already born with instinctive running ability, and they would race their legs off and their hearts out, unless held in check by some form of discipline. Here at track school, they learn that discipline. They discover the importance of relaxation, how to stand, to remain unexcited, to conserve their precious stores of energy. While Stormy unwittingly demonstrates how an uneducated horse frets away his strength. The student horse learns to let nothing surprise him. Here's an important lesson for would-be Seabiscuits. As many a fighter will overtrain and leave his fight in the gymnasium, so many a potentially great horse leaves his race in the starting gate. Students, get used to the outrageous-looking contraption. Don't bite it, don't fight it. Now, move out slowly, flat-footed, muscles relaxed. Very good, class. Let's try a slow gallop in single file. Get used to the idea of a horse in front and one behind. Never let the nearness of other horses disturb you. That's right, Stormy. Concentrate. Let's try running in the other direction now. Make sure muscles are properly developed on both sides of the body. Now watch this closely, Stormy. When a smart horse leans into a turn, he carries his weight by leading with the foot nearest the rail. If he's bumped by another horse, this helps him keep balance. But Stormy wasn't impressed. To his eye, the others hardly seemed to be moving. He knew he could outrun them. Why wasn't he given a chance, same as everyone else? No, Stormy, not now. Not yet. And then his friend brought him away from the track. For he knew what the colt didn't know, that Stormy would never get that chance. Meantime, after the workout, the others, like the pampered star athletes they are, ceremoniously parade with their handlers. Moving at a measured gait, this process known as cooling them out, allows their overheated bodies to regain normal temperature by easy degrees. Now, a sip of water, but just a sip. Among thoroughbreds, gulping is considered very bad form. Later, luncheon is served in their individual suites. Strict training table routine is observed with a tasty, nourishing meal of Canadian grain. As for Stormy, as usual, he lunches alone. His diet a matter of interest to no one but himself. Now, the big moment in the life of a yearling. At this time, according to custom, outstanding youngsters are selected to be sent to the big yearling sales, there to excite public admiration and to meet their prospective new owners. And Stormy, ready, able, and completely willing. Well, his bloodlines are good, but look how small he is. Just comes up to here. Doesn't meet the specifications. Can't risk the reputation of the farm. Sorry. Well, we'll have to think of something to do with that colt. Meantime, the chosen ones go to be groomed and fattened and fussed over, to prepare for what to young thoroughbreds is the supreme social event of the season. The junior prom, the cotillion, the coming out party all rolled into one. The famous Keeneland yearling sale in Lexington, Kentucky.
All right, there she is, and what about a starter? $1,000. Yes, sir, I'm at $1,000 now, but I go two. I'm at $1,000 now, but I go two. Give me anybody, you want to read anybody, you want to read. I'm at $2,000 now, but I go 3 for. Hey, now listen, little old man, you hush and let me do the talking. I'm going to brag about you. I'm getting paid for it. And I'm only bid $2,000 and $3,000. Yes, I'm bid 3. 4 do you want her? I'm bid 3 now, but I go 4. I'm bid 3, $4,000. I'm bid 3 now, but I go 4 to vote. Do you want to vote? I'm bid 3 now, but I go 4 to vote. Do you want to vote? Yes, I'm bid 4 now, but I go 5. I'm bid 4 now, but I go 5. Do you want to 5? Do you want to 5? I'm bid 4, 500 in. I'm bid $4,000. Hey, now listen here, folks. You all look at me. You can look at the fella after you buy. She's going too cheap. There's a little thieving going on in the house. Somebody's stealing here. Look at me now. And I'm only bid $4,000 fine. Yes, I'm bid $5,000. Now 60 water. I'm bid $5,000 now, but I go take anybody can take for. I'm bid $5 now, but I go take you want to take anybody can take where? Well, I'm going to sell her at $5,000 if you want to. $6,000 now 7 will you? I'm bid 6 now, but I go 7. Give me 7 anybody can be 7 for. I'm bid 6. Well, 6,500, 6,500. Thank you, sir. Now $7,000 will you? I'm bid 65 now, but I go 7. You order at 7. Yes, I'm bid £7 now, 8 will you? I'm bid 7 now, but I go 8. I'm going to sell her at 7 and all to it. I have sold her at $7,000. Thank you, sir.
Yes, thousands of dollars gladly paid to acquire such splendid creatures, all conforming to the rigid code of the thoroughbred. As for little Stormy, the horse who didn't conform, he was sold too. Quietly, in private, behind the magnolia tree. Then Stormy found himself aboard a train, heading he knew not where, taking him further and further from his bluegrass home. Turned out to be a place called California, and a farm that people there called a ranch, a working ranch. Stormy hadn't time to feel homesick or anything else before he was hustled out and stripped down for action. Good. He didn't care much for that stylish mane anyway. Instead, he got a practical western butch, the kind of haircut the local cowboys called a cactus cut. Stormy met some of the boys. They were friendly in a kind of a rough, breezy way. Not particularly interested in his ancestors. They wanted to know what kind of a horse he was. Might as well get acquainted with this, too. This is a working saddle. This is how the other half lives. Moments later, all simmered down. In spite of himself, Stormy began to fall for the charm of this little man with a face like leather and the hands like silk. This was Valdez, one of the last of the old California vaqueros. He spoke 3 languages, English, Spanish, and horse, the last one fluently. To mount a thoroughbred, it's customary to get on from the left side. Out west, things weren't so formal. To save a lot of misunderstandings later on, Valdez trains the horse to accept his rider gracefully from any direction. Someday in a crisis, a cowboy may have to mount the fastest, handiest way possible, and he won't have time to explain it to the horse. Yes, sir, when you graduated from his private, personal cow-pony college, you were one of the best educated horses in the business. Valdez prided himself on his teaching of the fundamentals: balance, handiness, how to change leads, how to pivot and work off the hindquarters, all of these stemming from the most important thing of all, proper education of the mouth. The education of the mouth begins with the hakima, or hackamore, which is simply a rawhide noseband with reins. Soon, for the first time, a light bit or snaffle is introduced into the horse's mouth. But the hackamore is retained to take off any sudden pull or strain on the as yet delicate mouth. After a period of time, the mouth is ready to handle the regular curb bit or half-breed, but first, under the supervision of those gentle hands. And when he has graduated from the mouth class, Stormy got a present: a new set of shoes. This is an operation requiring more skill than seems apparent on the surface. You know, a cowboy would rather go without his Stetson hat than see his horse improperly shod. First, the hoof is rasped down to ensure a level fit. Now the shoe itself must be properly shaped and fitted. Like people's feet, horses' hooves come in an odd variety of shapes and sizes, and the shoe must be fitted to the hoof, not the hoof to the shoe.
Oh, boy. Oh, hold it. That won't hurt you, Sonny. Oh.
Now the hoof is seared to check fit of the shoe against the contours of the hoof. No, it doesn't hurt the horse.
Oh, boy. Hold it, boy.
Here's where a good blacksmith earns his pay. The nails have to be driven into the wall of the hoof far enough to hold the shoe, but if they go into the quick, the horse may return the compliment by kicking the blacksmith into the water trough. At last, the nails are clinched, the fitting a success, and Stormy is ready to begin his new life as a cow pony. This was a big part of a cowpony's job: herding stock, bringing in the beeves. At certain times of the year, the ranch cattle had to be rounded up and brought into the home corral. Here, they were segregated into various groups, some to be shipped, others to be held for doctoring and fattening. No, this wasn't the pampered life of a thoroughbred racer here. None of that early morning breeze around the track, then knocking off work the rest of the day. On this ranch, you carried a saddle 10 and 12 hours a day and liked it. Personally, Stormy loved it. Began to look as though he'd found himself at last. Yes, time passed happily for Stormy in his new life. One day, a stranger came to the ranch. Kind of looked out of place in those surroundings. He and the owner walked down to the corral to look over the remuda, the working horses. stranger said hello to Valdez and gave Stormy a pretty good once-over. But the owner wanted him to see another horse, the one they call Caballero. Caballero wasn't only handsome, he was the best working cow horse on the spread, with or without a hackamore. Fact is, there wasn't a horse in those parts could touch him for cutting a heifer out of the herd. The heifer doesn't like the idea of being separated from the others. She wants back. It's the old herd instinct. But not with Caballero on the job. Stormy watched with admiration. Who wanted to win a derby when you could work stock like Caballero? There's what you called a real horse's horse. This is what cowboys do on their day off. This one here is just along for the ride. You give up? Well and good. Caballero's a great horse, no question of that. But the stranger is still interested in that other one. What's his name? Stormy? Fair enough. Stormy was ready. He'd show this fellow that a thoroughbred wasn't just an oversensitized speed machine. He knew how to think, too. Of course, Caballero was a tough horse to follow. Made this sort of work look easy, and it wasn't. Wonder what the folks back in Kentucky would say if they saw him now. Him, the great-great-grandson of Ben Brush on his mother's side. He didn't care what anyone thought, except maybe Caballero. Is handy enough. Let's try him on something else. A fellow who chases down steers for a living has to have a lot of faith in his horse. Take that little matter of the rope, for instance. A cowboy working close to a steer can be badly hurt unless the horse plays the rope just right. Not too slack and not too tight. Okay. Looks like the stranger wants to try himself. Wait a minute. What's going on here? And what's all that bric-a-brac? This guy's liable to hurt himself. stranger, he's not as much of a dude as he looks. Matter of fact, he happens to be one of the 3 10-goal polo players in the world. Yes, the stranger knows horses all right. Too well, Valdez could see that. Because he obviously wants Stormy and will pay whatever price is necessary to get him. So it's goodbye again. So long, Ranch. So long, Valdez. And thanks. And back to school for a postgraduate course as a polo pony. The way Stormy figured it, polo was kind of sissy after the rugged life on the range. Nothing to it. Travel in a direct line with the ball, line the ball up straight through, head to tail. Now the strokes. Offside back shot. Near side forward shot. Trickiest of all, the neck shot. And through them all, Stormy never batted an eye. Polo. Child's play. Now the dribble. Keep the legs out of the way. Set the ball up for a pass. Cinch. Well, Stormy finished his training in time for the big game of the season. And as the teams took the field, where was Stormy? Right. On the sideline, warming the bench. A game such as this promised to be was no place for a green horse. And as the referee threw the ball into play, Stormy anxiously watched his own team in the red jerseys. The white team, with powerful, hard-running horses, try to take the offensive. But we steal the ball in a tight cross-play. Now we're forcing the white team. It's a hard ride-off downfield. Each player riding his opponent out and away from the ball. The white number 2 is loose again. He centers the ball. The pass is picked up by his number 1, and it's a goal. Stormy flexed his muscles expectantly. Figured they'd be calling him in right now. He knew just the medicine for that white number 2 rider. That's funny. No one was signaling for him. Well, it's still early. Let's see what happens. Hey, looks like a foul. Now, Coach? Well, what do you know? They're going to keep right on playing. Stormy gave the horse credit. It was a rugged fall. In fact, confidentially, this game is just a little bit tougher than Stormy figured it would be. Stormy's confidence began to deflate as he watched the other horses. Boy, they were shrewd operators. Look out. That white player has thrown his horse off lead and off balance. Stormy now took back what he said about polo being a soft game. This was rough. Those other horses were stronger, tougher, and smarter than he was. His owner would be crazy to put him in the game. Bad spills and rough action seemed to be meat and drink to these horses. Time in and play is underway with a long pass down the field to number 2. End of the first period. Yes, that was Stormy's introduction to the polite sport known as polo. As bruising, thumping, shattering a game as tough ponies and hard-riding players could make it. No wonder Army cavalry used to cut their teeth on it in the old days. And as the periods rolled by, it became evident that this particular game was one for the books. Quarter was neither given nor asked for. The fury of the action mounted. Time. 8th and final period coming up. We're a goal behind, and our horses are tiring badly. Okay, Stormy, you've got your chance. You feel the eyes of the crowd on him. What was he doing here, anyway? Why couldn't they have left him at the ranch? But then, he realized he wasn't out there alone. He could feel the confidence of the man on his back. It was the age-old partnership of horse and man all over again. The horse needs the man, as man has always needed the horse. Time in. And of course, the white team didn't lose any time in giving Stormy a taste of their hospitality. They were testing the nerve of this green pony, probing for a weak spot. They were out to win. But they were pushing the wrong horse this time. If Stormy was frightened, he was the only one on the field who knew it. Stormy took his bumps and gave back as good as he got. Better, in fact. He leveled out. He put his rider in position for a hit and... goal. Score 6-all. Now the white team is smashing back with a new surge of power. They're sweeping downfield toward the posts. They're hounded all the way, but... hey, looks like that new pony again. And a save. Relentlessly, the white team closes in again on the ball, slashing toward the mouth of the goal. 3 minutes. Time was running out. And as the struggle raged from one end of the field to the other, horse and rider melted together into a single identity. No longer thinking, but twisting, turning, stopping, driving in a delirium of urgency. A long pass to Stormy. Now that white number 4 is back, pressing, badgering, still looking for more trouble. A hard ride-off, but Stormy wasn't buying it. He takes the challenge and comes back strong. Okay, Stormy, it's a horse race, remember? Who's best now? Final score, 7 us, 6 them. Well, it isn't as though these players didn't deserve that hard-earned victory. But as long as they're passing out honors, they ought to include a real hero. And there he is now, little Stormy. Maybe he wasn't the most famous horse in the world today, but he sure was the happiest. You see, it was just about this time that Stormy lost his inferiority complex. Permanently. And that's a true story. The story of a misfit who, like many horses and people before him, found his own special place in the world. Just one of thousands of horses who never set hoof on a racetrack, but whose courage and great hearts have brought enduring fame to the word thoroughbred.